And the next time we met, it became clear, though, that some people may not have read the book. It was clear. Now, he never asked if you read the book. He just asked a question. Now, remember, he cautioned everybody that he was going to challenge what they believe. And at one point, as he's challenging for people like, do you really believe that? Is that what you really think? At one point, you can see one person in particular. You know, we're doing this on a Zoom, right? And you can see the little squares with people, you know. We're doing this on the Zoom, and at one point, you could kind of see that somebody was kind of feeling a certain way. They looked uncomfortable with his line of questioning. They looked uncomfortable with his repeated questioning. And do you really think that? To the point where they kind of looked offended. But those who read the book may have understood that that was by design. You see, do you see in ministry, you will always have to prove. That's the thing you have to see as a preacher, as a teacher, as a child of God. You will always find yourselves in a position of having to prove what you believe. You will always find yourself in a position of having to give someone a godly, correct answer when what just happened to them doesn't make sense. When the tragedies of life hit, what are you going to tell them? When you say, somebody is sick, and you just say, by his stripes we'll be healed. That's what the Bible said, and they don't get healed. What are you going to do now in that situation? When you have these difficult things that happen that you can't explain, it seems like, is God in this? Is the God I serve real? Is he real, and does he see me? I mean, what do you say now? Check this out. What do you say as a minister, right? You're a preacher. What do you say to the parent of a child who just lost their life? Not only did the child lose their life, it's watch night. They're in church, praising and worshiping God. And somebody that's celebrating took a gun and fired a bullet straight up in the air to celebrate. They didn't have fireworks. They shot off their gun. Pow, 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 pow. Newton's law tells us for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever goes up is going to go down. And the bullet that was shot up in celebration now comes down, and it comes into the house of God, comes through the ceiling and strikes this 2-year-old little boy. What are you going to say, preacher, to the mother who was worshiping God at the time? How are you going to make sense of that death? What are you going to do when you look into the Father's eyes and you see the pain from the loss of his son? What are you going to say? What do you really believe? Huh? What verse are you going to pull out of the Bible that's going to make this tragedy make sense to them? When you pray for a member of your church to be healed from cancer, and they die, all the while you steady proclaiming, by his stripes we are healed. What are you going to say to a family that held on to your words like a lifeline, only to drown in the sea of pain and disappointment and anger at God for not answering their prayer? You got to ask yourself these things. How do you minister to a family of a beloved high school principal, known throughout the community of turning this school around, and his wife, a treasured college professor, who drowned while taking a much-needed vacation in Puerto Rico? See, his wife was swimming in the ocean, and she got caught up by a riptide, and her husband tried to save her, and they both perished. What are you going to say to that family that now has two boys? One of them with severe special needs. The sons of these parents are now orphans. What are you going to say to that family? What are you going to say to those little boys? What you going to pull out the Bible for that? When the family is angry with God, what you going to say when you're challenged? Too many times, we don't ask ourselves these questions. We don't think about those things. And because of that, we are caught unprepared. There's so many people that grew up in church that don't want to come back to church because they don't believe that a God who truly loved them will let that happen to them.